Dog agility is a dog sport in which a handler directs a dog through an obstacle course in a race for both time and accuracy. Dogs run off-leash with no food or toys as incentives, and the handler can touch neither dog nor obstacles. Consequently, the handler's controls are limited to voice, movement, and various body signals, requiring exceptional training of the animal and coordination of the handler. In its simplest form, an agility course consists of a set of standard obstacles laid out by a judge in a design of his or her own choosing in an area of a specified size. The surface may be of grass, dirt, rubber, or special matting. Depending on the type of competition, the obstacles may be marked with numbers indicating the order in which they must be completed. Courses are complicated enough that a dog could not complete them correctly without human direction. In competition, the handler must assess the course, decide on handling strategies, and direct the dog through the course, with precision and speed equally important. Many strategies exist to compensate for the inherent difference in human and dog speeds and the strengths and weaknesses of the various dogs and handlers. Competition basics. Because each course is different, handlers are allowed a short walkthrough before the competition starts. During this time, all handlers competing in a particular class can walk or run around the course without the dogs, determining how they can best position themselves and guide the dogs to get the most accurate and rapid path around the numbered obstacles. The handler tends to run a path much different from the dog's path, so the handler can sometimes spend quite a bit of time planning for what is usually a quick run. The walkthrough is critical for success because the course's path takes various turns, even U-turns at 270 degrees turns, can cross back on itself, can use the same obstacle more than once, can have two obstacles so close to each other that the dog and handler must be able to clearly discriminate which to take, and can be arranged so that the handler must work with obstacles between himself and the dog, called layering, or at a great distance from the dog. Printed maps of the agility course, called course maps, are often made available to the handlers before they run, to help the handlers plan the course strategy. The course map contains icons indicating the position and orientation of all the obstacles, and numbers indicating the order in which the obstacles are to be taken. Course maps were originally drawn by hand, but nowadays courses are created using various computer programs. Each dog and handler team gets one opportunity together to attempt to complete the course successfully. The dog begins behind the starting line and, when instructed by his handler, proceeds around the course. The handler typically runs near the dog, directing the dog with spoken commands and with body language, because speed counts as much as accuracy, especially at higher levels of competition. This all takes place at a full outrun on the dog's part and, in places, on the handler's part as well. Scoring of runs is based on how many faults are incurred. Penalties can include not only course faults, such as knocking down a bar in a jump, but also time faults, which are the number of seconds over the calculated standard course time, which in turn is determined based on the competition level, the complexity of the course, and other factors. Agility obstacles. The regulations of different organizations specify somewhat different rules and dimensions for the construction of obstacles. However, the basic form of most obstacles is the same wherever they are used. Obstacles include the following: contact obstacles, tunnels, jumps, jump. 2 uprights supporting a horizontal bar over which the dog jumps. The height is adjusted for dogs of different heights. The uprights can be simple stanchions or can have wings of various shapes, sizes, and colors. double and triple jump. 2 uprights supporting 2 or 3 horizontal bars spread forward or back from each other. The double can have parallel or ascending horizontal bars. The triple always has ascending bars. The spread between the horizontal bars is sometimes adjusted based on the height of the dog. Panel jump. Instead of horizontal bars, the jump is a solid panel from the ground up to the jump height, constructed of several short panels that can be removed to adjust the height for different dog heights. Broad jump. A set of 4 or 5 slightly raised platforms that form a broad area over which the dog must jump without setting the feet on any of the platforms. The length of the jump is adjusted for the dog's height. Tire jump. A torus shape roughly the size of a tire to 24 inches inside diameter, suspended in a frame. The dog must jump through the opening of the tire. Like other jumps, the height is adjusted for dogs of different sizes. The tire is usually wrapped with tape both for visibility and to cover any openings or uneven places in which the dog could catch. Many organizations now require a so-called displaceable breakaway tire, where the tire comes apart in some way if the dog hits it hard enough. Other hurdles. UKC agility allows a variety of hurdles not found in other agility organizations. Bush hurdle, high hurdle, log hurdle, picket fence hurdle, rail fence hurdle, long hurdle, window hurdle, and water hurdle. Miscellaneous table. An elevated square platform about 3 foot by 3 foot square onto which the dog must jump and pause, either sitting or in a down position, for a designated period of time which is counted out by the judge, usually about 5 seconds. The height ranges from about 8 to 30 inches depending on the dog's height and sponsoring organization. Pause box. A variation on the pause table. The pause box is a square marked off on the ground, usually with plastic pipe or construction tape, where the dog must perform the pause behavior just as he would on the elevated table. Weave pearls. Similar to a slalom, this is a series of 5 to 12 upright pearls, each about 3 feet tall and spaced about 24 inches apart until it was changed in January 2010. The extra 3 inches was to relieve stress on the dog's back, through which the dog weaves. The dog must always enter with the first pearl to his left, and must not skip pearls. For many dogs, weave pearls are one of the most difficult obstacles to master. Other obstacles. UKC agility allows the following obstacles not found in other agility organizations: swing plank, sway bridge, and platform jump. NADAC also uses a hoop obstacle. A hooper's course consists entirely of hoops, but hoops may be used in other courses as well. References for equipment specifications for various organizations. AKC under obstacle specifications and performance requirements. ASCA in Appendix A, equipment specifications. CKCP Canadian rules, see Appendix A. CPE, follow the rules link. FCI, under obstacle specification. NADAC, TDAA, USDAA, UKC, list of equipment, no specs. The Kennel Club, partial specs, agility scoring and clean runs. Each organization has its own rules about what constitutes a fault, and whether one can earn a qualifying score with faulted runs. A completed run that passes the minimum defined standards for time, faults, points, etc., is referred to as a qualifying run, and in some cases earns credit towards agility titles. A qualifying run is also referred to as a leg or a Q. A clean run, a clear round, is one with no faults. Different organizations place different values on faults, which can include the following: competition classes. Given the available set of obstacles and possible faults, there are many permutations of games, or classes, that one can play on the agility field. A typical course is laid out within a 100 by 100 foot area, with roughly 10 to 20 feet between obstacles. Judges design their own courses using the rules of the sanctioning organization. Each organization decides which classes are valid for achieving titles and how each must be performed, but there are many similarities. Some of the common types of courses are classes of standard, regular, or agility. This is a numbered course consisting of at least one of each of the three primary contact obstacles, plus jumps, tunnels, and weave poles of various flavors. A novice course might consist of as few as 15 obstacles. A higher level course might have 22. The dog must negotiate the obstacles in the correct order within the standard course time. Jumpers are jumping. This numbered course consists primarily of various types of jumps and, depending on the organization, also weave poles and tunnels. The dog must negotiate the obstacles in the correct order within the standard course time. The dogs achieve the fastest speed on these courses because there are no contact obstacles to slow them down. Gamblers, fast jackpot, or joker. An unnumbered course. The game typically consists of two parts, an opening period and the closing period, also known as the gamble, joker, or jackpot. In the opening period, the dog has a certain amount of time in which to do whatever obstacles the handler deems appropriate and accrues points based on the obstacles completed. At the end of the allocated time for the opening period, a horn or whistle blows. At that point, the gamble begins. The dog has a certain small amount of time in which to complete a sequence of obstacles designated by the judge ahead of time. The challenge is that there is a line on the ground past which the handler must not step, typically paralleling the gamble obstacles and from 5 to 20 feet away depending on the level of competition. The handler must choose an opening sequence that flows comfortably for the individual dog's skills and experience. The sequence must also be planned so that, when the horn blows, the dog is in a good position to immediately begin the gamble. The greatest challenge is the distance handling, getting the dog to move or even turn away from you. Snooker, loosely based on the billiard game of snooker. The course has at least 3 red jumps, each numbered 1, and 6 other obstacles numbered 2 through 7. The dog accumulates points based on the obstacle's number. This also has 2 parts, an opening sequence and a closing sequence. In the opening sequence, the dog must complete a 1, then any obstacle numbered 2 to 7, a different one, and any 2 to 7 obstacle, and yet another different one and another 2 to 7 obstacle. For example, the dog could perform the red on the left for 1 point, the 7-point obstacle, the red in the middle for 1 point, and then the 7-pointer again, then the red on the far side of the course and the 7-pointer one more time, for a total of 24 points in the opening. After successfully completing this, the dog must complete the obstacles 2 to 7 in order for an additional possible 27 points. Failure to follow these rules exactly results in the dog and handler being whistled off the course. Strategy and entertainment value. The dogs might have to negotiate between other obstacles without taking them and make a difficult entry to the obstacle, often combined with a longer distance between the reds and the 7 so that it consumes more time to do the higher point obstacle in the opening. Power and amp. Speed. The course consists of 2 sections. The first is an untimed power section, which features the contact equipment and any of the following at the discretion of the judge setting the course: weaves, table, a frame, spread jump, long jump. If this section is negotiated without accruing any faults, the dog and handler may go on to the speed section, which consists of a timed jumping course. team, pairs, or relay. 2 or 3 dog and handler teams each execute a portion of a standard agility course, with the handlers exchanging a baton between sections. Fairness among dogs and handlers. Although each organization has its own rules, all divide dogs into smaller groups that are close to each other in size and experience for purposes of calculating winners and qualifying scores. Dogs are measured in height at the peak of the withers. They are then divided into height groups. For example, dogs measuring between 12 and 16 inches might compete together with the jump set at a height of 16 inch. This ensures that dogs who might have an advantage on a particular course because of the size keep the advantage to a minimum. Dogs are further divided into their experience levels. So, for example, there may be competitions for 12 inches novice dogs, 12 inches intermediate dogs, and 12 inches masters dogs. Dogs typically have to have certain numbers of successes at lower levels before they can move up to compete with more advanced dogs. Some organizations allow beginner dogs to run on leash in some situations. Some organizations divide dogs into additional optional categories because the dogs are older, need to jump at a lower height than the regular standard, or the like. For example, a veterans class for older dogs might allow the dogs to jump at a height lower than the standard height and to have more time to complete the course. Otherwise, dogs are not separated by age. They must only be of at least a specified minimum age to compete. Some organizations divide handlers into additional optional categories, such as junior handlers, handicapped handlers, or senior handlers. Dogs are not separated by breed in agility competitions. Some organizations require that dogs entering its competitions must be purebred, but many organizations allow any sound, able-bodied dog, whether purebred or mixed breed. Blind dogs and dogs with disabilities judged to make the course run physically dangerous to the dog are generally ineligible for the dog's own safety. Among the major agility associations worldwide, the AKC stands out in its exclusion of deaf dogs from agility competition. History. The history of dog agility can be traced to a demonstration at the Crufts Dog Show in the late 1970s in the United Kingdom. Dogs were run around a course designed similar to horse jumping courses during intermission as a way to entertain the audience. It has since spread rapidly around the world, with major competitions held worldwide. Geography. Dog agility is an international dog sport with many different sanctioning organizations and competitions worldwide. Training. Dogs can begin training for agility at any age. However, care is taken when training dogs under a year-old so as to not harm the developing joints. Dogs generally start training on simplified, smaller or lowered agility equipment and training aids. However, even quickly learning puppies must be finished growing before training on equipment at standard height to prevent injury. Introducing a new dog to the agility obstacles varies in response. Each individual dog learns at his own pace. Confident dogs may charge over equipment with little encouragement, while more timid dogs may take weeks to overcome their hesitations with much encouragement. Both scenarios present their own challenges. Dogs may be overconfident and sloppy to the point where they have a serious accident, so self-control must be taught. Timid dogs need extra support to boost their confidence. Given the right encouragement, a timid dog can gain confidence through learning the sport itself. The size of the dog can also have an effect on training obstacles, particularly with the chute, in which smaller dogs are prone to getting trapped and tangled inside. Great effort is taken in general to see that the dog is always safe and has a good experience in training for agility so that they do not fear the obstacles, and instead perform them willingly and with enthusiasm. The teeter-totter and the weave poles are typically the most challenging obstacles to teach to any dog. Many dogs are wary of the seesaw's movement, and the weave poles involve a behavior that does not occur naturally to the dog. Contact obstacles in general are challenging to train in a manner that ensures that the dog touches the contact zone without sacrificing speed. Whether for competition or recreation, the most important skill for an agility team to learn is how to work together quickly, efficiently, and safely. Dogs vary greatly in the speed and accuracy of completing a course, as well as in the preferences for obstacles. Therefore, the handler must adjust the handling style to suit and support the dog. Training techniques for each piece of equipment varies. For example, the techniques for training the weave poles include using offset poles that gradually move more in line with each other, using poles that tilt outward from the base and gradually become upright, using wire gates around the poles forcing the dog into the desired path, putting a hand in the dog's collar and guiding the dog through while leading with an incentive, teaching the dog to run full speed between two poles and gradually increasing the angle of approach and number of poles, etc. Agility can be trained independently or with an instructor. A club that offers classes. Seasoned handlers and competitors, in particular, may choose to train independently, as structured classes are commonly geared towards novices. Seasoned handlers often instead look to seminars and workshops that teach advanced handling techniques, and then practice on their own. Common reasons for joining an agility class include access to agility equipment, especially the larger contact obstacles, which can be expensive, difficult to build, and require a lot of space to use. Seeking the guidance and expertise of more experienced handlers. Enjoying the social venue that many classes provide. Training in a more distracting environment, which is helpful in preparation for competition. In addition to the technical and educational training, physical training must also be done. At the very least, the dog must be fit enough to run and jump without causing stress or injury to its body. The handler can also benefit from being physically fit, but with some handling styles it is not necessarily to keep up with the dog. Being able to handle a dog from a distance allows mobility-impaired handlers to participate in the sport on par with mobile handlers. Research has also demonstrated health benefits to handlers engaged in dog agility.